guys, it's me, 𝗥𝗶𝗍 Rainbow.
And I'm Renata from the E-Spot.
And welcome back to episode 26 of the 𝗫𝗍𝘆 podcast. We are so excited to be back to our normal setup. I mean, I was excited to be with you in the last episode. That was really fun. But it's also very exciting to be back into our regularly scheduled programming covering the Eurovision entries. And we've got a lot of catching up to do. You know, these last few weeks has just been overload after overload of national selections and internal selections coming out. So we have broken up into a couple, over the next few weeks, we're going to be going over a couple specific songs. So in this episode, we're very excited to be going over Estonia, Croatia, Poland, Germany, Belgium, Lithuania, and Moldova.
Oof.
Yeah, I'm very excited because I was actually at Eesti Laul, so I have some insider, insider knowledge to that experience. I'm very excited to, talk about that. And of course, I'm excited to start talking about all these damn entries. The Eurovision season's almost come to completion. Like, we really almost have all the songs at this point. And now it's, we're getting into the thick of it and actually going to start being able to evaluate, figure out what is going to happen with Eurovision and all that. It's exciting. Eurovision's what, 2 months away?
2 months away. And I think at time of recording, we're like 5 days away from the end of the submission period, which I believe is March 11th. Today's the 5th. So in a week from now, like, that will be it. Like, the songs will have to have been submitted.
Yeah, that is very exciting. There's a lot of, unanswered questions. There's a lot, I mean, what's wild is going into this when you're so close to the end and still some countries, no clue who they're even sending. Armenia,
if they'll be there at all.
If they'll be there at all, like, there's so many questions up into the air. But you know what? There are no questions about is our amazing Patreon. No questions about it, bitch. And, we got to, of course, give a shout out and support to the people who have been supporting us over on patreon.com/𝗫𝗍𝘆 podcast. And if you would like a shout out at the beginning of the episode, as well as get early access to the full-length video episodes and some exclusive content over there, and also the little song clips for every single song that we talk about. The last episode, y'all, if you didn't watch it yet, if you just listened to it, that episode was great because we did so much stuff. We had like real world experience, background videos, everything like that. There was so much like footage from the stage and everything like that. And in this episode for Eesti Laul, I'm going to be inserting a lot of the stuff that I took for that. So make sure, if you want to, not miss out on anything, you head over to Patreon, subscribe so you can see all of that. And of course, we got to give a shout out to everybody who is supporting us over there. So shout out to Meredith, Daniel, Obili, Alistair, Russell, Shoegazer, Daniel, Kathleen, Suniva, Norbert, Jackson, Henny, Andrew, Elliot, and our newest patron, Sana. So shout out, Sana. Shout out, everyone. Yes, we love you all. And thank you all so much for subscribing to our Patreon and supporting us over there. And shout out, of course, to everybody who has been listening on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and on YouTube. We appreciate it. And if you want to support us in any way, of course, subscribe to the Patreon, but also like, comment, subscribe, and rate our podcast on all the various different platforms. It means a lot. So without further ado, let's get right into the episode.
Let's do it.
Alrighty. So starting off, we got to get into Estonia, Eesti Laul, but I would like to talk a little bit about just my experience visiting Estonia as well, because we did that for Finland. So I was very, very excited to be going to Estonia. It was one of my biggest dreams ever to visit Estonia. And I feel like when I was telling people about, how much I was excited to be going to Estonia, even telling Estonians, everybody was like, why? What do we have there? And like, no, y'all don't get the vibe. Y'all don't understand. Like, it's totally my kind of vibe. I love the Renaissance Festival. I love, like, really historical stuff is like the stuff I'm usually interested in when I'm traveling and like doing touristy things. So for me, yes, maybe it's a little more quiet kind of city vibe, but I kind of like that. I like being able to just explore. And I gotta say, so we were supposed to go together, of course. But what ended
Yeah.
up happening was it was just a lot. Like we were doing so much traveling every single day. We had gone to the 𝗏𝗏𝗄 Airbnb, and then the next day we were there for not even 24 hours. Then we go
Hmm.
down to Helsinki and we're there for again not even, well, I was there for again not even 24 hours, and we barely had any time to really do anything. We basically did like work stuff, the two of us. Barely got to
Yeah, and we
see.
took a nap. That was like the
Yeah.
first time the
Oh, I
whole trip
forgot.
we took
Yeah.
a nap. We just like completely passed out. Like we both ate some food and had belly aches, and then
Yeah.
just like I just kind of like turned to my side on the bed. Next thing we know, it's like 10 o'clock at night. Um, oops.
Ah.
But it was really intense there. And yeah,
Mhm.
basically this would have been the day before Valentine's Day. I was just like, I have to tap out here because it would have meant me going on the ferry to Estonia and then the very next day getting back on the ferry and then going all
Yeah.
the way to a different city, not even staying in Helsinki, just to stay there for 2 nights and then go back to Helsinki to fly home. And
Mhm.
I couldn't do it. And I really wanted to go. And now it's just like on my list. So like next time, I'm still going to go eventually because I've also wanted to go for a long time because I've always
Yeah.
liked Estonia in Eurovision. And
Mhm.
it is, I understand though why like maybe Estonians were like confused because it's like asking a fish if they like being in the ocean.
Yeah.
Like what, it doesn't seem special to you, but like from like the pictures I saw you sharing, like it seems like a
Mhm.
really super special place.
Yeah, and definitely I feel like it's one of those places where honestly, you'll be better off going there and being able to spend a couple of days. If we were there for 24 hours, like, we wouldn't have really been able to, we would have, well, you would have just scratched the surface
Mhm.
of what ended up being there. But um it was beautiful. The people there, were so lovely, so kind, so friendly. Fuck what they say. You know, they, I guess, kind of have the same sort of reputation that Finnish people seem to have. Is like a little more cold and like not as easy to open up to. Um, but did not have that experience at all. I made so many Estonian friends while I was there and people to show me around the city. And I ended up my first day there, Valentine's Day, going and doing filming for this Estonian reality TV show. If anybody knows the show Real World, it sounds to me that it's kind of like the real world. It's like these regular people that are they were like hosting parties, which was like what I was going to. I don't know what the other aspect of the show was. But I had a friend, Miss Tina Biscuit, who's a drag queen.
The great
I had a
name.
friend that I know, right? That was in the I think the second season, and this was the filming for the third. And so they took me there the first night. It was like Valentine's Day karaoke. And just from there, like I went there every single night. I ended up getting a tattoo on one of
Cute.
the nights. Yeah, it's like a my goodness.
Is that the
It's like
Joker
a
out thing?
is it? I don't think so. It's like a heart with swords and barbed wire
Oh,
with an
okay.
eye in the middle.
That's so
Um,
cute.
yeah, by this Ukrainian tattoo artist. It was like that was their rocker night. And so they were doing like rock karaoke and giving tattoos. Um,
Oh, fun.
and then the last night that I went was actually the Eesti Laul night. And because the venue that it was at was like filming every single day was in the same place. And it was like really close to where I was staying. And so we went to Eesti Laul. And I was not in drag for any of the other nights, but because I went to Eesti Laul in drag, I went to this in drag. And we were kind of treating it like our after party. And we went and we showed up and we, danced around, whatever, for like an hour or two. And one of the contestants on the show turns to me and he says, I'm sorry, um, do you make videos on YouTube about
Get out.
Eurovision? And I was like, yeah, I do. And do you realize I have been here every single night? And he's like, what are you talking about? And I was like, yeah, that one random American that was here every single night that like was just standing around awkwardly because everybody was speaking in Estonian and I had no idea what was going on. That was me. And he was like mouth agape, could not believe it. Because
Oh my
literally I was
God.
like there every single night. Um, and just the city was so beautiful. They have so many cool, interesting museums like Estonian history and also stuff about like their architecture and like getting to go up in their the like towers and the kind of like wall that surrounds or at
Yeah.
least used to surround the whole city. Um, and I don't know, it was so beautiful in Estonia that and the people were so warm and everybody was so friendly. Also, like it's a very easy place to travel to. Everybody there spoke English. Like
Mhm.
not once was it ever um you know ever an issue of communication with anyone. Um and I don't know, it really sparked something in me that I'm like starting to look into schools and stuff and really want to like, I don't know, I want to go there again at least, but I really would love to spend a lot of time there because I made so many friends too, and that's like the thing. I always make all these
Yeah.
damn friends when I'm traveling and doing this stuff. And that's what I love about traveling alone, is that I do always end up making a lot of friends with like the locals. But I'm like, why can't I make friends in real life? I mean, I guess that is real life, but like
It is real life.
at
Yeah.
home. Why can't I make friends like that at home?
Things are
Um,
just so different here, though, and I've been thinking about that a lot since we came back from Finland. Like, things just are so different in the United States than they are
yeah.
when it comes to like, because when were you meeting people? Like, you were meeting people when you were like going out and doing stuff, but going out here just really doesn't hit the same.
No, it doesn't. And it was like it was weird because, you know, they were singing not Eurovision stuff, but they were singing like Estonian songs and like I knew them at the karaoke
Mhm.
because it's just like that's the type of music I listen to. I wouldn't go and do karaoke because I don't know any of the I'm not gonna sing the songs that people are gonna, what am I gonna go
Yeah.
and sing the damn drug song or cha 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 in America? Like, I mean, if I was with a group of friends, but I'm not gonna do that around strangers. It's just
Yeah.
like it's just such a and also just the population. Like when I looked after the fact, I'm like, oh my God, Talon has like 150,000 more people than Pittsburgh does is insane because it's like such a small town kind of vibe. But like the population is so condensed that it's so much easier to meet people. It's so much like
Yeah.
everybody's 20 minutes away at most. 20-minute walk.
Yeah.
The fucking airport is a 10-minute drive from the city. That's
Wow.
crazy. So it was just a beautiful. Anybody who has ever, even if you haven't considered going to Estonia, I would highly recommend it. It's also so freaking cheap. It's so cheap there. It's absurd. Cocktails were like $4.
Wow.
Like, then of course that was like my touristiness of being in Estonia. But I also went there, of course, to go to Eesti Laul, which uh was a dream come true because even though the songs themselves were like really, I didn't really like anybody other than 𝗫𝗎 and Pull Up the Drug song. Um, even though that was really the only song I liked, it was just Eesti Laul was the first. It was the absolute first national selection I ever followed when I was learning about Eurovision because it's always, or it used to be very early in the season.
Yeah, it would be like in
Um,
December.
yeah, and so I, you know, I learned about Eurovision at the end of the 2016 season, like right at the live show, basically. And so it was the first national selection that was ongoing. And Curly, who I was a fan of at the time, like pre-Eurovision, was competing that year. So it was like Eesti Laul has always had such a special place in my heart. And so just to be able to be there, be live in the show, get to meet like Dagmar, who like no, I'm like it's so stupid because she's just like, I was talking to her. She's like, I mean, it's just a job, because she's just like a person who works for the network and she's just a
Mhm.
backing singer. Like that's why she does backing vocals for sometimes a bunch of entries in the year. It's just whoever goes through. And she's there every single year because she like works for the network. So she's just, doing her damn job. But it's like, I've watched you like every single year. I'm always loving you go, with your little sway and your
Oh my
snap,
God.
like, and I'm like, I finally get to meet you. I'm sitting there DMing her and I'm like, we need to get a photo. And not the camera being on her phone. She's like this. And I'm looking up at the screen. I'm like, she's texting me right now.
Oh my God, shut up.
It was so, so cool. I wasn't able to go as press. They did not accept me. So that's my one beef with you, Eesti Laul. They pretty much only seem to have like actual network TV press. Which, sucked. But they
Yeah.
did this weird, so we get there. So I went with, I don't know, I'm probably not gonna say your name wrong, but I went with 𝗏𝗏, who is just a friend follower who messaged me and was like, "Hey, you're going to Eesti Laul?" Because remember, if y'all remember on the episodes, I'm like, "Y'all, anybody go to Eesti Laul? Somebody please let me know. I want to go with someone. I don't want to go alone." So we met up and we drove over there, and then I met up also with Miss Tina Biscuit and Nelly from Sweden, Miss Tina Biscuit from Estonia, and we all kind of hung out there. And there was this weird meet and greet at the beginning. Literally, it was just in the lobby. So you get your ticket scanned, you walk in to the venue, and the meet and greet was right there. Like they were
Oh
just out.
my. Wow.
But it was chaos. Chaos. Impossible to get up to them. And all they were doing was signatures. They weren't taking photos or anything.
Uh,
I was like, well, I don't need anything to get signed. So I didn't end up meeting anybody because I was like, well, what's the point?
yeah.
I was like, what's the point? I mean, I don't need anybody to sign anything. But the one thing I thought was really cute was they had little signs that you could grab for anybody that you were supporting. So they had little signs on sticks of each
Oh,
person competing, so you could grab your faves. So I took one for Ollie and I took one for um the drug song bitches. um and I brought those home with me. Like I love little
oh,
memorabilia like that.
cute.
And I guess I could have got those signed, but hmm. um and so that was kind of chaotic. That was a mess. I go out to my seat. Girl, I got the most expensive seat, right? Because I didn't want to stand during the show because I
Oh
knew I
God,
was going to be in
ugh.
drag.
Also, it's
Yeah,
terrible to stand for that long.
terrible. And so I didn't want to stand. So I got the most expensive seat that was like the very front row, what it
Oh
appeared to
yeah,
be.
wasn't it supposed to be something about you where had to be okay with getting sprayed with stuff? Wasn't that?
Yes. So it was like, oh, you're so close to the stage, you have to like worry about, possibly getting sprayed with something or something like. I was in the section right in front of the stage. Well, not pictured there is the fact that they were going to have people standing in front of that section.
Oh God.
So when I'm sitting down, I'm like, oh, wait, I can't see anything because it's not like, I mean, we're very low. We're very low under the stage already. And now you're going to have people standing while I'm sitting? No, hell no. But what the benefit, it was so lax because there was not that many people there. And
Oh.
when before the show started, they said anybody who wants to come up and stand, feel free because it was so empty. And
Oh,
barely anybody
really?
mhm, and barely anybody even went up anyways,
Oh
even though they
wow.
they told everybody to just come up. So I paid a stupid amount of money for me to basically be able to leave my coat and my drink at my seat while I went up and stood during the performances and then sat down. Because another weird thing was they had a 30-minute interval during like a commercial break or a news break in the
Oh
middle.
God.
So live during like on TV, it went to the news. But for us, they had like some giveaway that they did. And it was really funny because they were like, uh ferry. The giveaway was like a ferry and a 2-night stay in Helsinki. And everyone's like, girl,
I
really?
mean,
It's
I
it's a
guess it's a good gift, but
yeah, it's like really though, like we're in Estonia. It's a 2-hour ferry over. It's right there. Like, um,
it's like
but
coming from Pittsburgh and getting a Niagara Falls vacation, 2 nights in
yeah,
Niagara Falls.
honestly. But overall, the show was really, really good live. I mean, I didn't really It's like I really didn't care about the songs, but it's just like it's fun. Like I don't have to like the songs to still enjoy it. It was an enjoyable show. There are some people that I really loved. I loved when those bad boy guys at the beginning, like they ripped off their clothes and they were just fully like bulge out. Like I was having, they just got naked. I was like, I was having so much fun. I was like, they really got my vote from that. The awkward thing was the fact that the audience was literally all children. Like I was literally, I felt like I was at Junior Eurovision. I think there were more kids there than there usually are at Junior Eurovision
Oh my
because
God.
I was surrounded by children, surrounded. And it's just like, I'm like, grown man, drag queen, standing here, children, no parents to be found either. They're just running amok, like circling me. I'm sitting there like, oh, go ahead of me, because they're children. I'm
And
like,
you're
that'd be
probably
rude.
in big shoes.
Yeah. I'm like, that'd be rude for me to stand in front of them. But like, I'm just like, I was like, I'm not good with kids. I work at an ice cream shop too. And I didn't really have this so much at my other job. But when I'm working at a proper ice cream shop, I don't really realize how much of the customers are children or like families and children. That's a big part of who goes to ice cream shops. And I'm so bad with kids. I am so weird and awkward and like just I don't know what to do around children. I don't have like younger cousins that I interact with or anything. I don't interact with children. So I just do not know what to do.
Well, the good thing though about kids is they're also super awkward in their own way. So
Exactly. That's true. That's true. And the show was so good. And you know, I don't know, the intervals were good. I love that they had Alika, but then they had the Bedwetters, who I was a big fan of, from Eesti Laul 𝗥𝗶𝗆. And it was just really good. Great show, great production, everything. I mean, it was really entertaining, even and so that's the thing is a lot of people were saying to me before that, they were like, why are you going to Eesti Laul? Like the songs all suck. It's a horrible year for Eesti Laul. I was like, but it's still gonna be enjoyable. Like,
well,
and there was,
yeah. Because like
yeah.
I feel that way about like I've always been a concert person. Like
Mm-hmm.
my dad was always dragging me to different kinds of like all kinds of stuff. Um,
Mm-hmm.
like there would either be like Mongolian traditional music, like
Mm.
at the university, my dad would be taking me to that type of stuff.
Yeah.
But like also I'd have friends who'd be like, do you want to go to this concert with me? I did not need to know who the band was. Like,
Mm-hmm.
I would just go because
Yeah.
it's fun to go to a show. Like, even if you don't know any of the songs, even if you don't like any of the songs, like, there is something just about like being entertained and doing something a little bit different. So, like,
Yeah.
yeah, even though you didn't like all the songs, you did like two of them.
Yeah. And like some of them were good and a lot of them were very entertaining still. Like there was really good staging and I honestly did not watch any of them really on TV other than the eventual winner. Like I just watched them there live. But it looked great for me and yeah, I'm the same way. Like my boyfriend will always invite me to like go to punk shows and stuff and like that's not my vibe at all. My only concern is if it's safe because there's always moshing. I'm always
Yeah.
scared of that. But he knows to invite me to like the queer ones. Um not the like skinhead, straight people ones. Um, but anyways, so now let's talk about the entry in and of
Yeah.
itself. So this we talked about the songs, of course. So like this wasn't a new song for us,
Mhm.
but going into this was my favorite. To be honest, it was my favorite of pretty much the whole season for the most part. Um just song wise, but I was concerned about how the staging was going to go. I was concerned about because in the semifinal, it felt very messy. It felt very chaotic. It felt like it just didn't make sense to me. And I'll say live here, it was in a different venue. And so they staged it a little bit differently. And they came through the audience in the beginning, which was, first of all, really cool as an audience member. To be like that close to them. They split you down. They put a fucking light in front of my face. I was
Oh,
pissed.
so like,
I was
did it
pissed.
block your view?
It didn't I could see, but on camera, you can't see me. You see the light. And all I thought
Oh,
was,
I
if that
see.
light was not sitting right in front of me, you would have seen clear as day my face during the official Eurovision video. That would have been so cool.
That would have been cool.
But no, but I can pinpoint the light that I was behind.
Okay, well, that's something.
But this one, just the energy of the audience, everybody got so excited. It was truly, it was giving 𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗆. Like the way that that song just brought everybody alive. Everybody was dancing. Everybody was singing along. Everybody was so excited for this entry. It was like kind of absurd being there because it was just like, oh, you could tell nobody else had a chance because the energy of the audience was just that much more insane just for them. And the song is so fucking good. The song is, it's got cultural Estonian elements. We've got the fucking Estonian language back. We've got, it's
Yeah.
modern. We've got rap. I mean, 𝗫𝗎 is one of the biggest artists in Estonia. And I love that this is like a representation of Estonian music, and the Estonians can be really excited about this entry. It's been like #1 in the charts since it came out. Like, I'm just so excited about this entry. I feel like it's really like shaking up Estonia, and I feel like it's what they needed.
Yeah, I really loved this one from the beginning. I just loved how like really authentic it felt. Whereas like the past couple years that they've had, like they had Hope, which just felt a little bit generic, and
Hmm.
like Alika's song was great, but like she's got much better songs that I think are like more interesting
Yeah.
than than Bridges, which she went with. And this is just something that's so different for them. This is the redemption for Winnie Pooh,
Hmm.
which had also another kind of out of the box, unconventional kind of song. Of
Yeah.
course, this is not as like artistic in the like crazy like conceptual way,
Hmm.
but it's it's finally like they finally Estonia made the right choice, and
Yeah.
they didn't let something great slip through their fingers for something that was just okay. So like
Yeah.
I'm so happy because this is a competition where like my taste very rarely lines up with the taste of the people in the country. And that's not what's happened this time around. And like I'm so excited to like root for Estonia as
I
well.
know. Yeah, for me, Estonia is my winner at the moment, and I really don't see it shifting. There was only pretty much one or two entries I was really like waiting for them to come out. It was like the Netherlands. I was waiting for the Netherlands to come
Mhm.
out to like see. I thought that one might shift my views, and it could still, but for now, no. Um, and I'm hopeful that they do refine the staging a little bit more because it still was messy. It still was very chaotic. And I think that there's actually good meaning to the lyrics that I feel like they can maybe display a little bit better through the visual presentation of the performance to really tell you the message of the song. I do love the idea of like the chaos in the beginning and it feeling like, whoa, what is going on? And then suddenly everybody breaks into like a uniform dance and that sort of thing. But
Well, and I feel like it's one that I feel like the song is good enough that it doesn't really need explained.
yeah,
Which is also kind of like how 𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗆 was as well. Although they,
yeah.
they did have some English lyrics in it. But I also feel this reminds me of 𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗆 a lot in the sense that I loved it from the first time that I heard it.
Mm.
It did not grow off on me whatsoever.
Yes, yeah.
If anything, like as each additional song has come out, it's been like, okay, Estonia is safe, like in my book. They're
Hmm.
really safe in my book. And I think right now they are also my winner.
Oh,
I
okay.
but there's a lot of songs that I still have not listened to.
That's true. Yeah.
So like they're definitely gonna be in like my top five, probably top three, which was what
Hmm.
ended up happening with 𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗆 as well.
Yeah. And the only concern I guess I do have is there are some songs this year that this one doesn't stand out in the sense that there are songs this year that have like that kind of humorous, funky vibe to it. Um, I hope that they're still able to get an amazing result. Like my concern is that like the person who's number one in the odds and the next person we're going to talk about, they're number one in the odds. Like, and sometimes it's like, okay, well, they're in a similar world. They live in a
Yeah.
similar world, those two entries. And it could be like a 2021 year where Finland and Italy both sent rock songs and they both got amazing results and they didn't
Mhm.
cancel each other out. Or it could be, you never know how that's going to go. But this song better get an amazing result for Estonia. They need to be shown that this type of entry gets rewarded for them and in Eurovision.
Yeah, I agree. I'm feeling that for them though, honestly. I think people are really going to feel something in this song enough to want to vote for it. I really
Mm.
have a good feeling about it. But I'm so happy too that there's like so many songs that are just totally me coded. Like is it like really going to be the case where there's going to be like multiple top 10 songs that I'm obsessed with? Cuz that never happens for me.
I
Like my songs
know.
that I like are like NQ level type
I
songs.
know. It's actually so like low-key refreshing going into the season because honestly, like I think this year is a very divisive year when it comes to
Mhm.
styles because I've been seeing a lot of people be very disappointed with this year. But for me, like this feels like this year was made for me. It's
Yeah.
like fun, it's exciting, it's interesting, and like all the top songs in the odds right now are like pretty much in my top. I believe the top 5 in the odds are all in my top 7, I think.
Wow.
So it's like, oh, I'm not really stressing right now.
Yeah, like you're
Um,
safe.
yeah, I'm chilling. Like, okay, if any of those top 5 in the odds win, I'm good. And that's probably pretty likely. So, um, the last things of my Estonia Eesti Laul trip that I want to mention is number one. So after Eesti Laul, we went to the karaoke bar and we were doing the kind of like TV show after party thingy. And suddenly we're getting kicked out very quickly. So usually the show stops filming, but like, the bar is open till like 3 or 4 a.m. So like, we're fine to chill out, but they're like, get out. They're like,
Okay,
you guys
what?
gotta go. And the reason was because that was where the official Eesti Laul after party was happening. So all the artists were there. So as we're getting kicked out, I'm scooching past Stig Rasta and the fucking old man from Pull Up who just fucking won.
Oh my
Um,
God.
so I was like, damn, like I don't get to join.
Well, and that was the
Y'all don't
second
understand
time
I'm
it
Eurovision
happened to you.
royalty.
You got kicked out of somewhere right as Eurovision acts are going in, just like with the Hook restaurant with
Oh my God, I
Teddy and
know.
Erica.
Yeah, they just don't want us around. Don't they know I'm an icon? See, and if Dagmar was there, I could have been like, Dagmar, queen, let me in. But she
Yeah.
wasn't there.
Oh.
So I unfortunately did not have relationships with any of those people. Although I wish I had a relationship with Ollie,
Well, yeah, well, no
but
one's surprised.
it's fine. Um, but yes, and then the last weird thing that happened in Estonia was I think the day after that, I was, walking around with a friend that I made in Estonia, and we were walking around the old town center, and these two guys come up to us and they start speaking Estonian, whatever. And I'm like, oh, I mean, I guess my friend spoke Estonian, but luckily they were like, hold on, wait, can we do English? So they start talking and they're like, oh, do you guys know Joker Out? And my friend didn't because they're not like a Eurovision like person. They don't know stuff really about Eurovision. They didn't know who Joker Out was. I was like, yes, I know Joker Out. And they're like, oh, um, and they explained that they're a band that were like Joker Out was doing basically like little like I don't know, like a competition to get openers for each city, different city. And so they were like entered in the competition to be their opener for when they were in Tallinn. And so I'm like, oh, sick, yes, like I know Joker Out. Definitely, I'll go and vote for you guys on TikTok, whatever. I take a picture of their little QR code. They were real professional. They had little pamphlets with QR codes. So I do that, whatever, and go on my merry way. I go back, like we're on our way back to my Airbnb. So I go in and I'm looking at the phone. I'm gonna go vote for them. And I look and I read the thing and I was like, oh, Around the Sun. That sounds really familiar. Around the Sun. Okay, let me look on Spotify. Bitch, they were in Eesti Laul. 2019, I believe, or 2020. They were
Oh
my
my God.
winner of Eesti Laul that
Oh my
year.
God.
My winner. And I went back and looked at my reaction, and I had remembered that I had this massive crush on, I think it was the like bassist of the band. That was the bitch that we were talking to.
Oh
And
my
I was
God.
so mad that I didn't like read the card that
Yeah.
I even mentioned. I said, "Oh, I'm here for Eesti Laul," and they didn't say anything. They didn't say, "Oh, we were in Eesti Laul" or whatever. They didn't say any of that. Um, but I'm so mad I didn't read it because I would have literally like fangirled so hard, and they NQ'd in Eesti Laul. Like they did not do well at all. They might have came last. Like they didn't do well. So it probably would be the most random thing, but I wish that they would have gotten my reaction of me being like, "Oh my God, you guys were my winner!" And Eesti Laul, I love you guys so much. I would have fangirled so hard they would have been so confused.
That's
But
so funny.
I can't get over that happened.
Did they win? Did they open for Joker Out? Because I think that concert was yesterday.
I don't think they did.
Oh, okay.
I don't think they did. But anyways, so moving on. Our next entry that we're going to be talking about is Miss Croatia with their song Rim Tim Taggy Ding Dip. Oh my God. Rim Tim
Tim.
Taggy Dim by Baby Lasagna. Now, bitch, if y'all are fans of the podcast, you might recall when we went over simply when we just had the artists and the titles of their songs. Didn't even have the songs. And I mentioned in that video, I was like, because as we know, Baby Lasagna was an alternate. So they were not originally chosen for Dora. But of course, 𝗤𝗄 ended up withdrawing, and so he took their place. And in that initial reaction, I literally looked at it and I said, I don't know who this crazy person is with this damn song, Rim Tim Taggy Dim, and their damn name is Baby Lasagna. I don't care. I haven't heard the song, but I know they need to be in this competition. That was it. So I'm the OG Baby Lasagna stan. And
Yeah.
so seeing him go from being an alternate to winning the selection with a landslide that actually was a bigger landslide than Karia's landslide in UMK. It was something absurd, like
And that was with
56%.
more acts against
Yes.
because
Because
UMK was like 7 and this was 12.
yeah. So like that is insane. Right now, Croatia, well, let's talk about the song. Let's
Well,
talk
I
about the
think
staging.
what's interesting though about the alternate situation is
Mhm.
that after the fact, a lot of people
Yes.
were criticizing the broadcaster and saying, how many other potential winners did you not
Mhm.
pick because your heads are up your asses
Yeah.
that you
Because
almost overlooked this song?
and so some of the other alternates have like come out and even some of them were the alternates, but then some of them I think were just people that submitted songs that weren't chosen. And like every single one that we have heard has been like miles better than, maybe not Rim Tim Taggy Dim, but
Mhm.
miles better than anything else that was selected. And it really does beg the question, like, what what do y'all want? What are you guys that are picking these songs? What are you jury members or whoever is involved in that? What are y'all looking for? Why are y'all setting yourselves up? Do you guys just have no taste? Do you guys not want to win? Is that the thing? Like, what is the problem? Why was this one not selected? Like, I feel like anybody with a brain, anybody with ears would have heard this and known that this needed to be in that selection. And there was a lot of fucking songs in that, and none of them needed to be there. Not a
Yeah.
single one.
They could have gone internal.
They could have just gone internal because really there was no point for all of that. With that being said, the selection was actually pretty good. Um, if I remember correctly, there was some good performances, everything, but this was landslide. I mean, not just the results,
Yeah.
it was like obvious. It was pretty obvious. And so what did you think of his performance in the national selection, everything like that?
Well, I think it's clear, and people have said that he has a lot of like work to put in
Mm.
to improving like his ability to be on stage, because he's not someone who's like done the contest circuit. Like it's not like
Mm.
his third time in Dora, and he's gone through the steps. Like in fact, I think his story and background does seem to be a lot more similar to like 𝗏𝗏𝗏 last year, where he
Yeah.
was more or less on like people knew who he was. He had other songs maybe, but never anything like to this scale.
Mm.
And people have said like, oh, it's like a ripoff of 𝗤𝗏𝗏𝗏, which it's really not.
Mm.
And even 𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏 was like, yeah, he's like, it's similar, but it's not the same. And I love this crazy song from Croatia. So like I hope that they like end up, linking up somehow along the line, whether it's at like a pre-party or something,
Hmm.
because I feel like Baby Lasagna is about to go through a lot of the same stuff. And it's
Yeah.
so funny every time I say the words Baby Lasagna out of my mouth. Like I went to watch the video earlier and I did like the YouTube like voice thing on the remote and I'm like Baby Lasagna. And like I've been watching so much Gordon Ramsay lately that I was fully expecting like Gordon Ramsay spits out lasagna in front of a baby video
Oh
clip to
my
come out.
God. Well, you know what's funny about that too is on Twitter, like he was trending when he won his national selection and it was under the food category on Twitter. Like,
That's
girl.
that's great. I'm so
Oh,
happy for him, and
yeah.
like 𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏 had a great song as well.
Yeah.
But it is one of those things where I don't think they expected or wanted to win the first time around, and I think that was the same this year. Like they were
Mhm.
in it because it was a thing that they could do and they could
Yeah.
use it as a way to release music. So I'm really thrilled about this. I'm thrilled that so many other people like it as well. And that the Croatian people were so fully behind it.
Hmm.
So it's not like there was any doubt really on like which song people wanted. It's not like in some other contests where things get really close and we're, counting votes, down to the
Hmm.
last vote to make the difference. So I like to see a landslide personally.
Yeah, me too. Well, because I was gonna say I need to pull up the votes because it was something just absolutely absurd from this. So let me see. See, Wikipedia is so annoying. It's like sometimes it'll go to the actual entries Wikipedia, sometimes it'll go to the Croatian Wikipedia. Okay. So, in the final, first place, of course, was Baby Lasagna, and he finished, well, I'll say, for the televote specifically, both numbers are insane, but this is what's crazy. So, second place in the televote was Alan Duras, whatever. They got 27 points. This was second place in the televote. 27 points. Baby Lasagna got 247.
It's
I
insane.
mean, that is insane. That's like, okay, so basically everybody voted for Baby Lasagna. Like, everybody did. It was just, nearly unanimous at
Yeah,
that
yeah,
point.
truly.
Like, that's crazy that the second highest was 27 points and his was 247. And in the end, with jury and televote combined, was 82 went to Vinco, who was second place, 321 to Baby Lasagna.
Yeah, I remember watching the public votes come in, and I was thinking to myself, because typically, like when the public votes come in, like there'll be some low ones, but they get higher.
Yeah.
And it was like
And they really didn't.
nothing
Yeah.
got, it was like, okay, oh, 7 point, I don't remember, but it was like, maybe a couple single digits and then a couple
Yeah.
teens, and then everyone else was like 20 points, 22 points.
Yes, literally.
And
Mm.
and being like, okay, so is it just like a really low amount of televote points available, or
Yeah.
what's going
Yeah,
on
like at
here?
a certain point, because you never, I don't know, some national selections or some just voting in general, like some do the ones where it's just 12, like regardless of how many votes you get, it's still 12, 10, 11, or 12,
Yeah,
10, whatever.
I hate that.
12, yeah, hate that. And then some of them are, I don't know what the correct word is for it, but like it's scaled for how many votes you have.
Mhm.
Um, which I think is way more fair.
Fair. It's way more fair.
And that's how this one is. So that's how he ended up getting just like an absurd amount of points. Like, ain't nobody was beating him.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I mean, he won the jury and the televote, so he even won the jury anyways. And for me, the performance, I love that I mean, the song as well, but I love with the performance that they were mixing, cultural Croatian sort of outfits, and also the sound in the song has that as well. And that's kind of the whole meaning of the song.
And the dance too, the little dance they do is
Yeah.
traditional.
Yeah, but then there's also aspects of the visuals that is like super duper modern with like really neon lights, and they've got like kind of leather and like mesh, and it's a cool mixture of the two. Which we didn't, I mean, that wasn't a thing for 𝗤𝗏𝗏. 𝗤𝗏𝗏 wasn't cultural at all.
I'm pissed though that the broadcasters or whoever the fuck decided to do green and pink lights. They should have known better than to do green and pink lights, because it just like welcomed the 𝗤𝗏𝗏 comparisons. If they would have done orange and blue, like same concept there of like conflicting colors.
Yeah.
Like that would have been so much better.
Yeah, that's
Yellow and
true.
purple.
But
Like
it's so stupid that anybody would look at that and think like, oh, because the lights, bitch, there's only so many colors.
true, there's like literally 7
No,
colors of visible light. So
like,
yeah, yeah, like there, but it was just kind of like, oh, really? Why? Because if they wouldn't have done that, it would have, changed things just like a little bit as far as like
yeah,
immediate perception of it. But yeah, it was really, the staging I thought was really cool, and the costumes were really cool, and I liked the choreography. There was a lot going on though. Like there was also like the neon
yeah,
cats, and like I think
which
that
is
they need to
cute,
edit a
but
little bit.
yeah, like the cats are cute, but I guess they sing about it a little.
Yeah,
I
there's
miss,
some line about a
but
cat.
it's cute. I don't know. Keep it, sure. I don't know. I love it, and I am fucking obsessed with the fact that that Croatia is first in the odds. Like,
Yeah.
I'm not gonna lie. This song I love, it's amazing, but I did not expect at all after he won for them to shoot up so quickly up to that first spot. Like, that blows my mind because usually, I mean, the odds are about who is most likely to win, right? And Croatia is not a country that usually even really gets good results. I mean,
Hmm.
what their best result in the last 20 years is 11th place? Like, that's, they don't get good results in Eurovision. So the idea that they are number one in the odds is crazy, and I would love the idea of them winning. Like
Oh God, yeah.
I want a new country to win. We're sick. I mean, I love Ukraine's song, but Ukraine just won. They just won. They win all the time. Not all the time, but
Yeah,
they've
they
won
win a
pretty
lot.
frequently. And Sweden was just like not as exciting because it was like, okay, again,
Yeah.
you know.
I've been to Croatia. It's
Yeah.
one of the most beautiful places I've ever been in my life. I went to
Mm,
Split. It is freaking gorgeous. The food is so good. It's Slavic Italy. It's
oh God.
amazing. It's just, and like the beaches don't have sand, they have pebbles, and I hate sand, so I love the beaches
Yeah.
in Croatia. I would
Mm. That's
love
how it
for
was in
Croatia to
Monaco.
win. It would be so awesome. And what I also
I
really
want to go
love
so
about
bad.
this song in particular is it's actually very Portion Boys coded.
Mm.
Like specifically the way that he raps, and the fact that it's like funny but talks about
Hmm.
serious stuff.
Hmm.
For it's like a little bit more rock than like Portion Boys is for me, but I
Yeah.
now have two very strongly Portion Boys coded songs in the contest, and like
Mm.
I'm beyond thrilled about that. The other one is Netherlands.
You know, just you mentioning the genres and stuff, that's what's crazy to me, that this is really being compared to 𝗤𝗏𝗏, because I guess it's like the meme of this year is like everybody being compared to 𝗤𝗏𝗏, but like
Yeah.
this is not 𝗤𝗏𝗏 at all. Like this is like rock influence, like there's kind of a rap element to the beginning, but like when he goes to like "Never going back," whoa, it's like proper like pop punk rock. Like
Yeah.
it's, I don't know, it's complete own thing. And you know what? 𝗤𝗏𝗏 didn't win. So we need somebody to avenge him.
Yeah.
So if they give similar energy, good, good.
Yeah. Yeah, I feel like
So
that is a good sign.
yeah,
And maybe that's also why it's gone up in the odds because
yeah,
people maybe who are betting know that like a similar type vibe
hmm
came second and everybody was sad that it didn't win and maybe would work harder to make it win next time around.
yeah,
We'll see. Although I don't really pay too much attention to the odds. I don't really understand odds or gambling. Um,
yeah. I don't fully understand it. I just know that it's usually accurate, which is weird.
yeah.
Um, but well, I'll say the winner is usually accurate, but the rest of it is usually like they'll be like the best entry in the world, and it's like the last place.
Yeah.
Like it's the weirdest thing ever. But anyways, oh, also I just want to say Baby Lasagna's fucking hot.
Yeah, he is
He's so
hot.
fucking hot. Need him bad. But he's married.
He's married?
I
How
think
old
he's
is he?
married. I think he's like almost 30.
Shut up, really? I
I
was thinking
think
dude was
so.
like 22 years old.
Me too. But that's like with 𝗏𝗧ia. I thought 𝗏𝗏𝗏 was like my age. Is he my
Well, and
age?
they both kind of have like
He's
I don't know,
28.
very like
Baby
gentle
Lasagna.
sides to them.
Yes.
Wow. Yeah, they've got like
Yeah.
gentle, sweet natured people, maybe
hmm
which is what's making them seem a little younger. Wow, 28.
I know.
Wow.
Yeah. So it is, yeah, yeah. But moving on from Croatia, we have got your homeland, Miss Poland. Yes.
Yay.
So we have The Tower by Luna, which was selected for Poland. They did do an internal selection, but their selection was kind of interesting because the artists were allowed to release their songs, have full on music, like fully commercially release their songs. Like they were also allowed to say that they had entered it. And then at a certain point, we did get the actual list of everybody who entered. Um, and so we knew like, oh, okay, these songs have all been released and they all were entered into the selection. So I'm like low key in my brain considering this a national selection, but just that was 100% jury vote.
Yeah, you
But
know, I kind of like the transparency of that.
yeah,
I like that it also gives them a chance to kind of maybe gauge like what people are or
yes.
aren't as excited about.
I
And
agree.
and there's plenty of times as well where we've had national selections and it's like okay, well, obviously there was actually only one viable choice here, so maybe you should have just picked it internally, which was actually
Yeah.
what happened, I think, with 𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏. They didn't have to win. They did auditions, and then the producers were just like, you know what? We've seen enough, and we're choosing you. And so, I mean, I think it's a decent way to do it.
Yeah. Yeah, I like the way that they did this. I think it's better than them doing it seemed better and more fair than their selection last year. So, um
Yeah.
but so the big thing, the big controversy with this was that there was a fan favorite,
Hmm.
former Eurovision representative, Justina.
Yeah.
And how do you say her last name?
Her name is
Oh,
Justina.
oh, sorry, I thought you had the document in front of you.
I don't have the document up.
Stekowska, 𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏 So she was the big fan favorite going into this. She represented Poland in, I believe, 1998 with her song Sama, which is honestly probably my favorite Polish entry ever. I love that entry so much. And her song was called 𝗥𝗶𝗁𝗆. And bitch, that shit was crazy. And she was performing the hell out of that song. I know, I mean, we'll get to Miss Luna, but this is our one and only chance to talk about The Witcher, right? So she was performing the hell out of this song. She, at her big age, no offense, at her big age, she's dropping down to her knees, doing this whole like trago, and like vocals fully not impacted. She was literally like dropping to the ground, up, down, up, down, up, down, up, down, up, down, like crazy, doing like as intensive choreography as her dancers. Wild. And I think going into this, she was definitely my favorite, Justina. Edyta Górniak was also in the selection. Miss Girl flopped. Flopped. She came 20th. She came 20th. She got like barely any points. So that was good to see, I think. Because I don't know. I'm always worried that they'll like because she would be a jury member. She's been a jury member like many times before for their selections. So I don't know. I get worried that that means that you'll maybe have some favoritism. Nope. Um, but I will say, um, going into this, I was a fan of The Witcher more, but something recently, just recently clicked for me with The Tower by Luna. And I always liked the entry. I actually mentioned it a few episodes ago when we were mentioning like our favorite song of the week or whatever, and I mentioned this one. I didn't think it had a chance to win. Um, so I do love the entry, but something clicked recently with it where it's just I don't know, I'm obsessed with it. It's like it's not anything crazy special. It is like a really good pop song that has this like airiness to it, and it has this really uplifting feeling to, of course it's like the lyrics. It's about like like almost like building up your confidence for yourself and not relying on other people, and but also just the vibe of the song. And I loved like I'm a big fan of her music. I discovered her from the selection and I went back and listened to some of her other stuff. Huge fan now. She does a lot of really cool stuff where she takes actual samples of sounds from space that like NASA publishes and she puts it into her music. I'm
Oh,
telling you this what is disappointing is that this is one of those artists that if this is not a good song for you to interpret your opinions on her music in general, because this is
mm.
nothing like anything else she does. She pretty much, I think this might be her first English song. Like she always sings in Polish. She does this really cool spacey vibe. I mean, her name is Luna. Um, and she's also the representative of Poland for Spotify's Equal campaign. I don't know if,
Wow.
yeah. So she's like, she's the face of that. That's like on all the billboards in like New York City or whatever. Like she's the Polish representative. So I mean, she's a big deal. And so it's exciting to see her going to Eurovision. And I'm excited about this entry. I think, I don't know, something just clicked with me. It's catchy. It gets stuck in my head all throughout the day. And it's just a good break from, I think, a lot of the like craziness where it's still upbeat. It's still fun, but it's just a different, it's just a very different vibe. And I don't know. It's just sometimes when, when a song is just like, I need that now. It just works for me right now. Um, and so it's working. It clicked and it's entered my top 10.
Well, 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 Poland in the top 10. How about that? So there was this little trend going around on Twitter today, and it was like which Eurovision or national final like person do like I like look like or give the vibes of.
Yeah.
Multiple people said Luna for me.
Really?
Yeah. I was like, okay, I'll take it.
I
She's
don't see
young.
it.
She's a lot younger than me, so I'll take it. Um, what do you think I think of the song?
I think you don't like
Wrong. I
it.
loved it. I totally loved
Really?
it. Yeah. It reminds me of Ava Max. And I
Okay, yeah.
love Ava Max. Like I love, love,
Oh.
love, love, fucking love Ava Max. So like right off the bat, it was like, okay, it gives me the same vibe as something else. And so like I do want to check out her other music. Especially because it sounds like her other music might even be more like what I tend to like than maybe
Mm.
this song is. But I really like the song. I'm so happy that Poland is giving us something that is commercial but not derivative.
Yeah.
Like Solo was such a cheap song
Hmm.
and everything about it, like it was very commercial, but it was just so it was just
Mm.
there was nothing there. There was nothing behind it. It was just like a stupid song. And I feel like there was just there was a sense of a lot more like genuine creativity and like
Yeah.
interest, and like I was excited to go back and listen to it again so that I could pay more attention to the lyrics. Whereas with solo, it's like you're not going to be able to find some deep message to interpret here. Like it's so
Yeah.
straightforward. But I
Hmm.
mean, even some of their other songs they had, like The Ride was pretty straightforward. And kind of like overly accessible to the point that people didn't even
Yeah.
like it, although I liked it. But then you had like the what's his face, 𝗥𝗏𝘅, with that like it was like a
Yeah.
trying too hard song, like trying too hard to be something. And then I think they're finally like reaching the balance here where it's like something that has quality to it, but there's a little bit of
Yeah.
substance to it, but it's also accessible to people and it's
Yeah.
not over the top. And she seems, even though her name is Luna, she seems pretty down to earth. And
Yeah.
I'm
She
really
seems
excited for this.
I think that's the benefit of however they did their selection. I think letting them like just release the music themselves is just like as themselves really helps because it's not somebody trying necessarily to create and release a Eurovision entry. You're letting the
Hmm.
artist just basically like release a single like how they normally would and then selecting it from that. And so you have also these artists that have just actual a vision to how they want to do their stuff. Whereas like 𝗥𝗏𝘅 and Blanca were still pretty new to like making music. So it makes a little more sense. And I don't know what's his name? The Ride. What's his name?
Oh, Rafał Trzaskowski.
Yeah. Like, does he do a lot of other music?
I think he was like a TV show guy.
Yeah, because none of them gave off like, oh, we've been doing music for years, and so we know our
Recording artist.
style.
Yeah. None of
Yeah,
them gave
like
recording artist.
she's an artist. She has a vision. She does stuff that like she knows what she's doing. Like that whole fucking NASA space, she describes it as cosmic pop. Like she's doing stuff that's her. And so being able to
Mhm.
select an entrant like that, it's good because she has her own individuality as an artist and her own vision. And so I don't know, I think it's always good to select something that's not maybe necessarily made for Eurovision. And I think that helps just in the long run as well to like build your reputation as a country. And I think that Poland needs to work on that.
Mhm.
So I
Yeah.
think that helps. And her herself, I think that's the thing. I watched some of her performing this on like talk shows and I watched her like just some of her TikToks and stuff. She's so cute and quirky and weird and like fun and she seems like she's that energy of that girl that like you want to be best friends with, you know? And
Hmm.
so I'm really excited about this entry from Poland. I'm really excited about it. Like I'm not gonna lie. I think now I like it more than the Witcher song. And I think that tells me that they made the right choice.
Yeah. I think between the two, they definitely made the right choice. I
Yeah.
think they were onto something with this. Yeah. I'm like finally excited for Poland. Like, cause
Hmm.
every year I'm like, Poland, and then I hear the song and I'm like, fuck. Like I
Yeah.
wouldn't vote for this.
Hmm. And I think that my thing is I've always said Poland is one of, if not my favorite, like country's music industry in terms of like the artists that I listen to. I love my Polish artists. But they never select those people that are like actually making an impact in the Polish music
Yeah.
industry. And I mean, seeing that she's the representative for Spotify equal for Poland and stuff like that, like maybe that's the sign. Maybe we're actually gonna get 𝗤𝗏𝗽𝗏. Maybe we're actually gonna get fucking 𝗤𝗏𝘅𝘅 or I don't know, lamberry. Like somebody, you
I'm
know?
still not over
I
Landberry not going
know.
to Eurovision. She
I
needs to go to
know.
Eurovision.
Yeah. I mean, she's the most likely. I mean, because she's technically a Eurovision winner, junior Eurovision winner,
Mm,
um, as a writer. So I think she's the next step. I know that she would want to do it at least.
that'd be
Um,
nice.
but yeah, I'm excited. I'm excited for Poland.
Yeah, finally. It's really nice to be excited for Poland.
Alrighty, so moving on from your homeland to my homeland, is Germany.
Mm.
Which, by the way, I just looked at my DNA results for my heritage. Y'all, my heritage is a scam. MyHeritage is a scam because tell me why they say I'm 4% Irish and 75% German.
Hmm.
Lies. Lies. That is not true. That's not true.
Interesting.
I believe because I've done Ancestry DNA as well, which has way more data than
Mhm.
MyHeritage. So I'll believe Ancestry DNA over MyHeritage, girl.
Yeah.
But according to MyHeritage, I am 75% German, girl. I am German to the core. So this is my homeland. And for Germany, they picked the entry Always on the Run by 𝗤𝗎𝗄. And this song has been really, really controversial. I feel like I've been seeing like an absurd amount of hate against this guy, 𝗤𝗎𝗄. And I remember this song, I didn't follow the selection at all for Germany. And I remember, I believe the selection went on when we were in Finland, and so really like was not paying attention to it at all. And all I remember was seeing all these people complaining about how horrible their entry was. It was like seeing all this stuff like, oh, Germany last place all over again, the worst song ever, da da da, making me think it's worse than Sisters and all this shit.
I hate that
And
song.
yeah, that's horrible. And so I mean, lesbian anthem though, but like um but so I go and like watch this and I'm like, I fucking love this. Like, no, yeah, it's not gonna be my winner. Yeah, it's not in my top 10, but like, I'm like, this song is not bad at all. It's a really good, powerful ballad
Mhm.
that I can still kind of
Yeah, up-tempo ballad.
yeah,
Yeah.
up-tempo ballad. It's got like interesting, unique aspects to the instrumental. I'm sorry, I know everybody hates on the damn elephant sound, but I like the elephant sound.
I missed the elephant
It's
sound.
very subtle. It's all throughout the song though. Um, but it's very subtle. Like you have to be listening to it. But I think it's not like it's yes, maybe it's not the most unique, but I wouldn't go as far as to say it's like crazy generic. It's not like the most generic thing I've ever heard. I don't know. I don't think it's like I think it's got enough uniqueness to it to where I find myself clicking on this and listening to it really often. I really like this entry a lot. And then so I went and listened to it, and I was like, okay, I felt like there were some reasons as to why this song was getting such an absurd amount of hate. Um that seemed very unfounded because I thought the song was really good. I mean, he won the televote in Germany by, I mean, he won the televote. I would say, I mean, I guess they had a lot of damn votes. What the hell? He got
There's a lot of people
100,000,
in Germany.
110,000. That's crazy.
Okay, that's a lot of votes.
That's a lot of votes. And the top three in the televote all got 100,000 votes, basically.
I wonder if it was cheap to vote or if there was like a free
Maybe,
option
yeah.
or something like through your like
But
app.
see, and they did it. I mean, it doesn't look like it really actually mattered or affected the results, but they did it where it was still converted to 12, 10, 8, 6, 5, etc.
Oh, okay.
Um, but like he won the public vote, he won the jury, so he won fair and square. The person who was the person that everybody said, oh, was robbed, was this person Reich, who came third in the televote, and they came, what is this? Like um one, two, three, four, fifth in the jury. Like that man was not winning.
That's not a
That man
robbery.
wasn't winning. That he was not robbed. He came third overall. So really he wasn't going to win anyways, even if this dude didn't. This other guy, Max, would have won. So I'm like, y'all need to get over it. Okay, you're faved and win. So I went and listened to all the entries in the selection. This was the best one. This
Okay.
was by far the best one. That dude Reich song was a boring ass ballad, would have got lost in the sauce. It was not interesting at all. It had better staging. And so that's what I'll say is this song had absolutely no staging. I mean,
Yeah.
it looked like an audition. It looked like the X Factor or something. It looked, you know, like one of those things where he's in plain clothes and he's just on the stage singing. His voice is insane. He is so
Yeah.
talented. Amazing fucking voice. And my thing is there are multiple songs this year that could live within this same sort of vibe, and that would be Belgium and Latvia, I would say, is they all kind of have a similar genre-ish or like vibe.
Hmm.
Um, and I even played all these songs to my boyfriend and told him to tell me which one he liked the most without watching them or knowing anything. And he said this was his favorite out of those three. And so out of those three, I should say. And none of these are his style of music. But you know, I just think the outrage against him has been like absolutely absurd. So then whenever something like that is going on, I go into like stan mode almost. I'm like, well, it's not my favorite song, it's not my top 10, but bitch, now I'm really going hard for this guy because
Right.
I feel
Someone's got to
bad. Like,
defend this guy. Yeah.
yeah, like everybody's coming for him for no damn reason. So I think it's good. I think it's interesting, and I think it's a I don't like male ballads, but I
Me
really
either.
like this one. So I don't know. I don't know if this is going to resonate with people. It's one of those ones where, yeah, I could see it coming last, but I also could see it doing really well. It all depends on like how they stage it, what they do, whatever, you know?
Yeah. I mean, I think the song is fine. Like it's not like there was anything about it where I was like, oh, this is like not a good song, like musically or lyrically. Like it didn't stand out as being terrible. I don't like male ballads either. So like it's not really my cup of tea, but I don't hate it, even though it's totally something that I normally wouldn't like. Um I wouldn't even choose necessarily to listen to this song, but that's not because it's bad. It's just because it's not my style.
Hmm.
He is a great singer. He's a fantastic singer. And you could tell that he did have like a little bit of camera awareness.
Hmm.
So, like, there were times where they weren't doing him any favors
Yeah.
with the camera work, but on the moments where it was connecting, like I did feel like I could feel him a little bit through the screen. So like he did know what he was doing. He just definitely is going to need a lot more practice. They're going to need to put more effort into the staging for him.
Mm.
I also think he's a really cute guy. Like
Yeah.
generally, like he's a cute guy, but the outfit was not helping
No.
whatsoever. The
No.
outfit, like it literally did. It looked like he wandered in off the street because he heard that there was like a casting call, and then he came out and
Yeah.
belted out this amazing song. They just needed to. They they did him no favors, and he still won.
Yeah. And I think it had probably compared to pretty much everybody else where they had such overproduced performances that had so much, you know, staging and so much going on with them, where maybe this was, I'm not, listen, don't misinterpret my words as me comparing him to Lena Meyer-Landrut. That's not what I'm doing. But, you know, there's something to be said when everybody's going crazy, everybody is doing the most, and you are the one person that goes on there and just sings and has the best voice on that stage and has a good song, and everything is simple and people can relate to you, you know, and you're
Yeah.
just a regular person out there showing your talent and showing off your good song, and you stand sometimes that's what makes you stand out the most, you know?
Mhm.
So maybe that's what ended up working in his favor for that. I love that. I really do like this entry. I like it. It's one of my like thinking about Germany's entries lately. It might be one of my favorites in recent years because I'm like, well, not that there's much to compare it to, but like I was not a Lord of the Lost fan. So, you know, take that with, you know, what you will. But I wasn't a big Lord of the Lost fan. And then Sisters, I don't know who was between them, but
We had
you know.
Yendrick and
Yeah, no. Nope. Nope, nope, nope. And what's his name? No. So this is one of my favorite
mhm.
of their entries in recent years. So I don't know. I like it.
It's
I like
fine.
it.
Yeah, I'm it's fine.
Sue me. Uh, and then we had Belgique,
Mm.
Belgium, with their song Before the Party's Over by Mustii. So I was very excited in anticipation for this because Mustii is judge on Drag Race Belgium. So he's got his connection to the drag world. So I knew about him before he was ever announced. And of course, then he was announced earlier on in the season. And then we finally got the song. I feel like a crazy person. And this is where I feel like, I don't know. Am I losing something? Am I losing my, well, there's always some outliers for me, right? That everybody loves and I just don't like at all. You know, namely my last place being France, that every time I post my rankings, everybody's like, how was your dead last, France? Guys, it's just not my vibe. This is
Same.
also not my vibe. Like, it's that male ballad, but it's got nothing going for it for me except for maybe artsy visuals. But to be honest, they're not really interesting to me. And you know, whenever somebody is singing so intensely, and then you're listening and you're like, but you're not really saying much, you
Mm.
know, you're really emotional over what? You know? And when he's doing that chant at the end of the song, it's like, got a soul on fire. I'm gonna make moves tonight. What are you saying? What does that mean? What does that mean? And you just repeat it over and over and over again. And maybe I'm just stupid. What does that mean? Like, I don't know. This one's just not working for me. I think it has potential to do really, really well in Eurovision. I mean, you know, I don't know how he actually performs live. I've never seen him, but I mean, he gives off the vibe that he sings really well. I don't
Mhm.
know. Anybody who does like mostly ballads, I'm like, you have to be good at singing.
Yeah. Yeah, you can't phone that in.
Yeah.
Um, so I like this a little bit more than you did,
Hmm.
definitely. I mean, I'm not like, oh, sending it to, the top of my ranking or anything.
Well, because I think this
Um,
is fourth in the odds.
oh wow, really, is it?
Yeah.
I don't know that it warrants fourth in the odds. But I mean, I even though it's not my style, I still felt like I was like enticed enough. Maybe it was the visuals that were helping and him in particular because he just the way that he moved his body was very like I've been watching a lot of 1980s music videos lately, and they
Hmm.
all you can tell are like trained as being like ballet dancers, and like the way that they
Okay.
move their
Yeah.
bodies are like really like wiggly. And I felt
Hmm.
like, and like he had this very like sensual, slippery, modern interpretive dance, but like outdated
Yeah.
modern interpretive dance. Um, that I don't know. It was definitely working on me. It was working on me.
Hmm.
And I was kind of forgiving the fact that like I did notice that like, okay, the lyrics don't really like make sense. And they didn't have enough variation in them. Like I kept wanting it to be like, I've got a soul on fire, gonna make moves tonight. I've got a soul on fire. I'm gonna beat the daylight. Like something like another like switch, but it
Yeah,
just
because
like
he's like
repeated.
he says, I'm gonna make, I got a soul on fire, I'm gonna make moves tonight. I got a soul on fire, I'm gonna raise roofs
Oh,
tonight.
raise roofs tonight. Oh, so he did change it
But
up
then he
just a little bit.
repeats it again, just the same
Yeah,
thing.
it needed a little more. And this was an internal, so they had time to really
Yeah.
like fine tune it or make it make sense or have an obvious message.
For me, this is giving we made a song we think for Eurovision that we think is gonna be a moment. Oh my God, there's like chanting and then a big key change, and like
But
it's
you know what? You might be right about that. And it might be one of those things where it's all going to suddenly make sense when we see the package on
yeah,
stage live.
yeah, maybe. For me, it's giving it doesn't have the rawness to like actually genuinely grab me in my soul.
Hmm.
Um, it feels too overproduced for me. Even just visually and whatever, like almost too overthought.
Yeah, I could see that. I think that's pretty valid. I think that's valid. Um,
But if they win, my sister's living in Belgium, getting married in Belgium, so
Well,
happy to go
that
over
settles
there.
it then.
There we go. Um, so then in sixth place, or not sixth place, oh my God. Sixth song to talk about in this, we have Lithuania with 𝗥𝗶𝘆𝗥𝗏𝗆 by Silvester Belt and Bisexual King.
Oh,
Bisexual King. And we actually did talk about this entry, briefly in because we were covering actually Lithuania's national selection, but that was a while ago, to be honest. And although I was a 𝗥𝗶𝘆𝗥 stan, so I continued to watch this over and over again. I don't think Renata had the same experience, so it was almost like watching it for the first time
it was
again.
like watching it for the first time. Um, because it was a really long time ago. And
Hmm.
it was one of those competitions that was such a fucking slog, where it was like five
Yeah.
heats, right? It was
Yes.
stupid and it just went on forever. And it was one of the first songs that had come out from that. And I had a favorite in that round that got overlooked. So, like, right away from the first heat, I just completely like lost interest. But
Hmm.
I did go and watch the final performance, and I am definitely obsessed now. This is another
Yeah.
situation where we have a country that like finally made the right choice after very
Yes.
consistently making the wrong choice over and over again.
Yeah, I'm very, very excited. First of all, very excited to, continue to get Lithuanian in Eurovision. I'm glad that I feel like they were one of those countries that used to think, oh, nobody wants to hear our
Hmm.
language. It's not a commonly spoken language. Nobody oh, we're not Italian, we're not French. Nobody likes to hear Lithuanian. And then they got good results and they're going to keep doing it. And I love that, like, they can show such a variety of Lithuanian music still in the Lithuanian language. You know how some countries maybe feel like they need to do their language for like a cultural thing, but no, it can be a fresh, cool
Yeah.
pop song in Lithuanian and still be well received by the public, not in Lithuania, you
Yeah.
know? And I love that they're doing that. I think that Silvester is such a fresh, cool performer to send to the contest, such a good representative for Lithuania, because he just represents something completely different than we've ever seen. First of all, his name's not Monica,
Yeah.
so that's
It's
something
weird.
very different than the last few years. Um, and yeah, I love this entry. He's representing, us twinks very well.
Mhm.
Um, he has a love affair going on currently with the Swiss representative.
Really? Is that a
Um,
fact? Or is this
well,
like fan shipping?
it's like a thing on Twitter. They've been like flirting on Twitter
Ooh,
lately
that's
and like
cute.
sending memes back and forth
Oh
between each other.
my.
So, you know, also today, that trend that you mentioned of people like saying people who you look like in the Eurovision world, a lot of people were saying I look like Nemo. So Sylvester, if Nemo doesn't work out and that's your type, apparently I'm the next best thing.
Oh, that's funny.
So I love this entry. It was my winner of the whole selection. So I'm very happy that they won. What's interesting is he did win because they do a super final. And basically he got second in the jury, but first in the televote, and then like another entrant. There was a tie
Hmm.
between him and Shower, whatever their song was. And the Roop ended up also being in third. But the Roop came in third and Sylvester steamrolled that damn super final.
That's good.
So, three song super finals, I'll allow it.
Okay.
Yeah. Alrighty. And then we had Moldova with their song In the Middle by Natalia Barbu. And now we never mentioned this, I don't believe. I don't remember the last time we talked about Moldova, to be quite frank. Um, she was in Eurovision,
Hmm.
2007, 5, 2000, one of those years. I want to say 2007 because I feel like it was the year that it was in Helsinki because we were watching it. So 2007 with her song Fight, probably my favorite Moldovan entry ever. Um, this song ain't working for me. I like kind of like, I think I like the idea of what they did with the staging with like, we've seen people put themselves up on an LED screen or as overlays in videos and do stuff like that. Like 𝗏𝗏𝗄𝗀 did that during her song. Remember when she
Mhm.
had like the holograms or whatever? You know, we've seen that kind of thing before, but we've never seen it where somebody, maybe not never, but I thought it was very interesting to just have like literally all the people on the stage be dressed exactly like you and be like mirroring your movements.
Yeah.
The issue is like it needed refined to where at Eurovision, I think this would be a cool concept to still bring to Eurovision, but we need those damn movements to be 100% in sync. Otherwise,
Yes.
it doesn't work. Otherwise, it looks sloppy and you've got five other women up on that stage, and if every single person is not in sync, it just doesn't work. Um, so I like that idea. I'm feeling an NQ from Moldova though. This one's just not sticking out enough for me. It's like one of those ones where I like listen to, I'm like, oh, this is nice. It's got like a catchy hook. It's cool. But then I go and rank them and I'm like, well, but this song is not anywhere near the level of anybody else in the selection right now, to me.
Yeah, I felt like I was losing interest in the song as I listened to it, specifically in
Hmm.
the verses. Like the hook in the chorus was okay. Um, and I did like the concept that they did with the choreography, other than the fact that it felt a little bit static because a lot of it was just them
Yeah.
standing. Like when they brought in the cool arm movements, like I liked that. But it really bothered me that they had this whole violin moment, but we could see that there was going to be a violin moment. And I feel like you've talked about that before with like
Mm.
costume reveals where like it shouldn't be obvious that you're going to do a costume reveal because it ruins it ruins
Hmm.
the moment. And when we
Hmm.
could see that every single um microphone stand had a violin attached to it, it was like, okay, well, at what point do the violins come in? Like it kind
Yeah,
of
you're
gave
just
away the
waiting
game.
for it. There's nothing to like actually get you excited. Oh my God,
Yeah.
violins. No, girl, we've been sitting looking, staring at them the whole
Yeah.
song.
And of course, we know that they're not actually maybe she is actually playing them, but like it's not what we're hearing.
Yeah.
So like you're really so all this so that you can mime violining. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't
Yeah,
know. I agree with you. It's going to be an uphill battle for them this year.
it is. But I mean, I guess I shouldn't count them out because Moldova is so good at staging
And
that,
they do tend to have pretty shitty national selection final production
yeah,
values and they blow
yeah.
it out of proportion. Yeah.
So, I mean, honestly, what we saw here is not what we're going to see on the stage, probably at all. We probably won't even get that concept. I mean, the concept doesn't really make sense with the song either. So it's like, throw it away or not. I don't know. I think it's kind of cool. Like, I'd like the idea of, I don't know, maybe interacting with her clones a little bit
Yeah.
more, something like it really was just them standing there. Um, I think you can do stuff with this, but they got to work on that. They got to work
Yeah.
on that. But speaking of a country that, um, I don't know, doesn't need to work on much for me personally, is Italy with their song La
Yeah.
Noia by Angelina Mango. This is so fucking good. Often I'm kind of bored with Italy. They're one of those
Mhm.
countries where I like them, but mm, I don't know. They tend to send, it was always the male kind of like, what did they even send last year? Oh, Marco
Marco Mango.
Mengoni. It's just like, this again. It was always, I always like the songs I liked never won San Remo.
Yeah.
And this is such a breath of fresh air. I really actually like, because I was following San Remo. I didn't watch the shows, but I was keeping up. I was watching the performances every single night. And this was not at all what I was expecting to win. There were some songs that were like, okay, yeah, these are the things that win San Remo every single year. This is fun. This is upbeat. She's a young, fresh performer with a cool perspective, and she's singing about like young people's perspective on life and boredom and just like being bored of life. It's like such a kind of cool concept to be singing about because like 𝗏𝗏𝗽, I think it literally just means like bored or boredom, like something along
Mhm.
those lines. And it's just I don't know, it's kind of also one of the songs that's low key relevant to like what I'm going through in my life. Where I'm just like, oh my God, life is just moving on, moving through, going through the motions. We're
Mhm.
just, stuck in this like space. And the fucking like the rap kind of part of it where she's just talking super duper fast. I'm never going to be able to learn the lyrics to that part, which is annoying. And the way that she commands that freaking stage, like 𝗏𝗏𝘃 is such an interesting selection because I don't know, they are they have like an orchestra. They don't really do staging at
Mhm.
𝗏𝗏𝘃. It really is just them up there singing. But the way that they like they're artists and that she specifically has so much charisma and stage
Yes.
presence and she just really like you don't care about all those other things. And I think that that really helps because they also low-key suck at staging in Eurovision. Like they never really do much with their
Yeah.
staging. But it doesn't really matter, I guess, because they have these artists that are just amazing performers and that can really command the stage. And I just think this is so exciting. This is so different. This is the first woman in the last 60 years to win and represent Italy, win 𝗏𝗏𝘃 and represent Italy in Eurovision. Emma from 2014 Eurovision, she did win 𝗏𝗏𝘃 2013, but she didn't represent them the year after. So like and then the other women that they've had represent them in Eurovision didn't win 𝗏𝗏𝘃
Mhm.
in recent years. So it's very exciting. It's I feel like a very monumental little, moment and I'm excited. She wasn't my winner of 𝗏𝗏𝘃. For me it was 𝗥𝗶𝗆. Uh but doesn't matter. This is like my second place or third place, I think. So I still love it.
Yeah. Yeah. So San Remo happened when we were in Finland.
Mhm.
And I was not keeping up with anything. And then after the selection happened, you had shown me the other songs.
Yes.
Um, and there
We were
were some,
sitting in the hotel packing and I played
yeah,
every single San song except for this one. I was literally struggling so hard because I was obsessed with the song and I was with you for a week and I couldn't play it.
yeah. So I wish in retrospect that I would have just like fucking filmed a reaction in the hotel room of
Mm.
you playing it because I just finally, after being home for like 2 weeks now, um, set up my studio so that I could start recording reactions and get back into the swing of things. I had recorded a few reactions. Last one for me to record was Italy. I was so excited. I do the whole fucking thing. And then I go to stop the recording and see that I never clicked start. And I had reacted to the song after all this time, being super careful not to have spoilers. And I sat and I did a reaction to a camera that wasn't recording. So I'm very pissed, but you're going to get my first look at my reaction to the song, which was I fucking loved it. I thought it was brilliant. She's an amazing singer. She's got so much stage presence. I was totally blown away. I was like dancing through the whole entire time that I was watching it. I love, love, love it. Just like with Poland, I'm so happy that a country has finally decided to just like send something a little bit different from what they've been sending and something that's just a hell of a lot more accessible to more people than what they've been going for in the past. So I'm just like, I am so excited for Italy this year. And that is something I almost never say about Italy and
Yeah.
Eurovision.
Yeah, and this song specifically, I feel like is gonna have a really good appeal to both the jury and the televote. Televote's gonna love it. She's, a fun young woman that's going to be having fun dancing and everybody's going to dance along with her, but then there's also like vocal moments in this song. Of course it's like a pretty good radio friendly song in that sense that
Mhm.
juries like, but also there are the vocal moments. Voglio senza morire. Like right at the end, she's going like, she has her moment where she shows off her vocal abilities. Juries are going to love her. Like, I feel like she could be a potential winner in that sense. I mean, she's really high in the odds, whatever that matters. But I feel like this is going to be a good one that merges the two. Um,
Yeah.
this and like Ukraine to me are the ones that are gonna probably be able to do that. So we'll just see the way the cards fall in that. But also she was fully styled by 𝗥𝗏𝘅 for all of her performances. I don't know how the fuck she made that shit. It's just because she's hot. It's just because she's hot. Because they make the fucking ugliest clothes I've ever seen in my life. I don't
Oh
know
my
how the
God.
hell she rocks it and she makes it look so good. Because she looks great. And then
She looks amazing.
I go trying to buy some shit. Ooh, let me like look up some of, the ugliest shit I've ever fucking seen.
Wait,
Like
what is it
fully
called?
𝗫𝗏𝘅, 𝗥𝗏𝘅.
𝗥𝗏𝘅. I've never heard of this designer before. I loved what she was wearing for the final performance.
It's like they make the ugliest fucking prints you've ever seen in your life.
Okay, dresses. I feel like I'm such a dress person. Oh. Oh, what the fuck?
That's what I'm saying. Like, where did she get her shit? Like, her shit was custom hetero because whatever the fuck they're selling is not.
I mean, some
It's
of these are like okay, but they're not $7,000 okay.
yeah, yeah. It's like bohemian, like ugly. It's like you go to a fucking
Yeah. Thrift store. It
hippie.
looks like,
Yeah,
yeah.
this is like stoner clothes. Like if it was like leggings and like a flouncy shirt, a stoner would be wearing them, but they're $7,000. So no
Wow.
stoner is wearing those.
Wow, my goodness. Not even me.
Yeah. But yeah. And
Okay.
then the last up for us to talk about in this video is Denmark with their song Sand by Saba. And like it's really good. One thing is her voice in the national selection performance that was uploaded on the Eurovision channel. Is that really her voice? Because it was so flawless that it felt like there's no way that is the actual live vocal. If it is, that is absurd. It was so amazing. I mean, I don't doubt that she's an amazing singer. It just
Mhm.
felt like too perfect. Um,
Because people
voice,
have done that in the past where they've had the studio
yeah.
track and then it's like
Yeah.
it looks like it's a live performance, but it's actually
And
the studio track.
it's listed as national final performance and not official video. Because sometimes if they don't have a music video, they will list the national selection performance as the official video. But she has it listed as national final performance, which would imply it should be fully live.
So
So I
did
don't
Denmark
know.
have a contest? Did they do a Melody Grand Prix this year?
Yeah.
So then it must be her live
Yeah.
vocal.
But it was insane. Insane vocals. I liked the song. I really do. Like it's it's better than Moldova, but it's in the same sense that like when I'm watching it, I like it. I think she's amazing. She's an amazing, striking performer. She's fucking gorgeous. It was all good, but it's not very memorable. It's not very special really. Like it's just kind of a good power pop bop ballad that doesn't really have much else going for it. Like, I
Yeah,
don't know.
when I was writing my notes, I realized that I felt pretty much the same way about this song as I did about Germany's song. That the
Mm-hmm.
song is totally fine. It's competently performed. I could see a lot of people who like songs like this really liking this song.
Mm-hmm.
But that it's not something that like I'm necessarily going to be running to listen to or add to a playlist. Not because it's bad, just because it's just not giving me what I like. It's very anti me and anti my style. And there's not enough that's interesting about it to break free from that. Like there's a few like ballads that I've really liked this year. I loved 𝗏𝗏𝗏. And then there's is it called Greedo? Is that the song from Portugal? Um,
Oh,
the female singer and like everyone's in white. There's a
yeah.
song in Portugal that I really like,
Yeah.
and that is not what I normally like. And I feel like
Mhm.
you have to give me something a little bit more to bring
Yeah,
me over to the side of the song.
there's not much like artisticness to this entry. It's just kind of there. It's just kind of existing. Um, and I would love to see them try something cool and different with the staging because the song is good. The song is good. It's perfectly inoffensive and just
Hmm.
good. Like it's just a good song, but it doesn't have that interest. So if the interest is missing and like the uniqueness is missing from the song, and it's still a good song, then all you have to do is add something interesting with the staging. So like the song from Portugal, they're doing like some really cool visual stuff with that. That
Hmm.
makes it like it's not my favorite kind of song. It didn't actually really stand out to me too much when I had just listened to the studio tracks, but when I was watching it live, that one really stood out to me because they added that extra special stuff to it through the performance. She needs something like that because on its own, it's just a beautiful girl or a beautiful woman standing up there, beautiful voice, singing a beautiful song.
Hmm.
But I don't know, you need a little something more from that. Um,
Yeah,
yeah.
I agree with you on that.
But she was born in Ethiopia,
Oh, okay.
which is cool.
There's a
And
lot of
she dropped out of high school.
really. How old is
Dropped out
she?
she's 26,
Okay, so she's,
'97.
she's not 19 or something. It wasn't a few years
Yeah.
ago she dropped out of school.
Yeah, she
Wow.
dropped out of high school to moved to Copenhagen, started her modeling and entrepreneur career in teeth whitening products. Well, girl, can I get some?
Wow, what
Because I
a
need them.
backstory on this girl. I did not see the entrepreneurial in teeth whitening coming.
Oh, this is interesting. So while she was starting her entrepreneur and modeling stuff, her sister, who it was her and her sister were born in Ethiopia, adopted and moved to Denmark. So her sister went on to pursue singing and a musical acting career. And in February of 2023, her sister was got pregnant and she replaced her sister in it was a premiere theater thing performance of Hair, the musical. And so because her sister got pregnant, she replaced her and that made her debut as a musical stage actress.
Wow. Oh my God, the lore on this girl. I may have no choice but to stand. I maybe not her
Right?
song, but her.
And I think she's queer. I think she's a lesbian.
Really? Well,
Yes.
goddamn.
Oh, I don't know if she's a lesbian, but she is in a same-sex relationship at the current moment. She also has been diagnosed with bipolar disorder,
Oh,
and
oh my goodness. Oh, so much about her life is
they've
out
got a
there.
they've got a lot of details on this Wikipedia. Some
Why
of
are
this
there so
I
many
don't think we
details
need.
on her?
Like, do we really need to say in her Wikipedia? She also practiced self-harm.
Was there like there must have been like a big expose article or something, right? Or was there a documentary about this person? Like,
I don't
are,
know. They do have a lot of info on her.
yeah, like where's all this information coming from? That's
She
like
is an
really personal
ambassador from the
stuff.
Danish Depression Association.
Okay. Well, then that
Oh,
maybe
I
makes
see.
sense.
She was in a documentary called My Insane Twin, but it was like the title was in Danish, but um My Insane Twin. So probably a lot of that stuff came from that.
Wow, you're also an insane twin.
That's true.
Hmm.
What do you mean by that? Ah, well, I'm loving this year. Honestly,
Yeah.
I'm loving everyone. There's not really an entry I hate. I think all the artists seem, for the most part, other than Tali, seem really cool. And I'm loving everybody. I'm like really excited about this season. And of course, that was just 9 of the entries that are out, but we have got so many more coming out. So make sure you guys stay tuned. Of course, subscribe and follow us on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and of course, subscribe to the Patreon so you don't miss out on any of the all the extra special stuff over there and the full-length videos and the early releases and everything like that. And to support the podcast, of course, as well. And so you don't miss out on any of the episodes because we've got a lot of entries to be covering over the next few weeks and a lot of important shit going on.
Yeah, oh gosh, it's gonna be crazy. So I guess if you made it to the end of the episode,
Yes.
you should drop the twin emoji. The little
Oh,
two girls with the like they're dancing, do you know what I mean?
yeah.
They're like the little
Yeah.
tap dancing twins.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
drop us the tap dancing twins.
Yes, we love a tap dancing twin. Couldn't be me. But maybe it is Saba and her sister. Um, and yeah, guys, that is it for episode 26 of the 𝗤𝗍𝘆 podcast. My name is 𝗫xy Rainbow.
And I'm Renata from the eSpot.
And we will see you all next week. Goodbye. Mwah.